Hi everyone. Today I'm going to discuss about ethical hacking. Okay. So this is the outline for today class. Okay. So first we will see what is hacking and the history of hacking and the difference between hackers and crackers. Okay. So these three parts is coming under introduction. Okay. So after completing the introduction about hacking, we will discuss the type of hackers. Okay. For example, what is white hackers, what is black hackers, what is gray hackers. Okay. So everything we will cover under type of hacker session. Okay. So after completing this, we will discuss the hacking process. So what are all the steps are involved for doing hacking in network? Okay. So that is the third part we will discuss. So after completing this, we will see what is ethical hacking. Okay. So why people are more interested in ethical hacking. Okay. So once we completed ethical hacking process, then we will see the advantages and disadvantages of ethical hacking. Okay. So once we cover this part, then finally we will see, so what are the safety actions are there? Okay, what are the security safety actions are there for protecting these kind of hacking activities? Okay. So this is the outline for today class. Now let's see what is hacking. What is hacking? There is no formal definitions are there. Okay, so there are many people are there. Many people propose different definitions for hacking. But usually, hacking is the process of exploiting vulnerabilities to gain unauthorized access to systems or resources. Okay. See, suppose one systems are there or network are there, whatever it is. So everything is digitalized. Okay, so all the data informations are digitalized to one. Okay, see, whenever the data is digitalized, the security level we may not give 100%. Okay, so even though if we are having some very good system, very good power capability, protecting this capability having, it is very difficult to give 100%. Okay, so that is the secret of hackers. They hackers they are identifying the vulnerability. Finally, they exploit the vulnerability and they will get some gain from the system or network resources. Okay, so this process we'll call it as hacking. Okay, so the hackers they're identifying vulnerability and attacking the vulnerability, and finally they will get some gain. Okay, like passwords or stealing some confidential information. So through that confidential information, they will make use of some other purpose for stealing money from your bank account. Okay, so these are all the major problems are happening whenever the hackers are stealing your information. Okay, so this process we will call it as hacking. So the either individual persons may involved for this hacking process or some team of group of people are there. They are doing some hacking process. Okay, so depends on their interest. They will do these kind of hacking activities. Okay, so an individual who has accepted hacking as a lifestyle. Some people are having it's a habitual activities for hacking their systems or resources. Okay, so there is no intention for some of the people, but because of their interest, because of their they're showing their knowledge, they're trying to hack all the resources and systems. Okay, so there are so many examples are there. Okay, so see, over 1 year before, some small boy he consumed a huge amount of BSNL data. Okay, so no one knows, no one expects the small boy he consumed a huge amount of data for using internet. Okay, BSNL internet. Okay, this is what happening because that small boy he don't have any intention for demolish BSNL or some other institute. Okay, but because of their in his interest, he consumed a huge amount of data. Okay, so that there is, see, based on the person they will we can identify the motivations. Okay, so this is, we call it as hacking. Now let's see the history of hacking. Okay, so the first hacker was appeared in the year 1960s at the MITs. Okay, so that is the first. In the year 1960 it was started. Okay, so after that in 1970s there are different kind of hackers that appear. For example, phone phreaker or phone hacker. Okay, so they are breaking some telecommunication network and finally they exploit some vulnerabilities. Okay, so that kind of hacking that already happened in the year 1970s. Okay, so after that, the freaks like the breaking the telecommunication is migrated to computers. Okay, so the first hacking was happened. The bulletin board system appeared. Okay, so there are so many possibilities. So in the year 1980s, small hackings are performed because on the day systems are not having huge amount of resources. Okay, so limited resources are there, even though the people are hacking something into the particular system. Okay, and after that, in the year 1990s, internet is coming. Okay, so internet came so that more informations are widespread to all over the world. Okay, so that is also one of the weakness point of digital information. Okay, so they exploit the vulnerabilities to the hackers are exploiting these kind of vulnerabilities, and finally they will get some information from the internet. Okay, so this kind of hacking has been part of computing for 50 years happening. Okay, so almost 50 years the hacking process are going on. Okay, so this is the history of hacking. Okay, so the first hacking process was started in the 1960s, and after 5 years till now we are having so many vulnerabilities for sending data and receiving data or storing data in the internet. Okay, so this is very dangerous thing for it in future also. Okay, now let's see hackers versus crackers. So what is the difference between hackers and crackers? Okay, so hacker is a person who is proficient with the computers and or programming. Okay, so hacker is a person. Okay, so hacker is a person. Okay, sometimes nowadays people are suppose if you want to search something into the Google, after 2 times or 3 times they will verify, okay, whether you are a human or robot. Okay, but because that kind of technology is came to the real world. Okay, but in the previous year, or 10 years before or 5 years before, only hackers are only the persons. Okay, now there may be a possibility for using some robot for hacking something into the some stealing some confidential information from the some websites or some other business websites or government websites like that. Okay, because nowadays we are having some very good machine learning algorithm. Okay, that is, see, some good things also is there, as well as bad thing also involved. So what is the bad thing for machine learning algorithm? So the hackers are they are utilizing the machine learning algorithm by identifying the vulnerabilities. Whenever the machines are learning the vulnerabilities, that algorithm identifies some accuracy of the problems. They identify the accuracy, identify so many problems for the entire resources. Okay, that is very dangerous. Once the machine learning algorithm identify the problem, which means some vulnerability, the hackers they are exploiting the vulnerability and finally stealing all the information. Okay, this is very dangerous situation. Okay, that's why we are studying ethical artificial intelligence like that. Okay, so the thing is, the hacker is a person who is having some efficient for operating computers and programming. Okay, so a cracker is a hacker, but who uses their proficiency for personal gain outside of the law. Okay, so cracker has its own kind of hacker, but his intention is entirely different. Okay, so but hacker intention is different. Cracker intention is entirely different. Okay, he may not expect anything for cracker. Just he uses some their proficiency for gaining something outside of the law. Okay, so that is the second point. And what about the third point? So this point is very important. All crackers are hackers, but not all hackers are crackers. Okay, so all crackers are hackers, but not all hackers are crackers. Okay, so for example, let's see some of the motivation of hackers. Okay, so display of dominance. Okay, they will show, okay, so I'm having some knowledge. I have the ability to do, I have the ability to break this network. I have the ability to steal this kind of confidential information from the government website. So likewise, the hackers are having motivations. Okay, and second one, showing off revenge. Okay, some people they are taking revenge for their companies. Okay, someone is removing you for unnecessary reasons now. So they are having some revenge, and finally they may hack the entire system and stealing all the confidence payment and giving to some other company. So there may be the reverse dropping. So there may be a possibilities are there. Okay. So likewise, people are having, which means hackers are having different motivations. Okay. So that motivations it may lead to hack the systems or resources. Okay. So we don't know what the people are thinking because there is no limit for hackers' intention. Okay. So that who knows what will lurk in the heart of the man. We don't know what the people are thinking. Okay. So based on their thinking, they will decide and finally identifying the vulnerability and exploit it. Okay. So this is the difference between hackers and crackers. So now let's see the type of hackers. Okay. So first we will see white hat is one of the type of hackers. So what is white hat? So white hat people usually a good person. Okay. So they are doing only good job. They are doing only good job. For example, report hacks vulnerabilities to appropriate people. Okay. So what appropriate people now? Suppose these white hackers are working for national security. Okay. See, some people are they are doing some illegal activities continuously now. So these kind of white-hatted people, they may help the government to identify these people and give the report to government. Okay, so they will do good job in a legal way. Okay, so usually they are doing some illegal activities, but because of government, they are coming under legal activities. Okay, so these kind of hatters we call it as white hatters. And what about the black hatters? So the black hatters are very dangerous hackers. Okay, so they are mainly focused on their motivation. Okay, for example, taking revenge or showing their skills. Okay, so these are all the motivation for black hatters, and finally stealing someone's system or breaking the telecommunication network, or they are doing some illegal activities. Okay, so whatever they are doing, it is not coming under legal activities. Everything is coming under illegal activities. Okay, so these kind of people we will call it as black hatters. Okay. Now let's see gray hatters. So what is gray hatters? The combination of white hatters as well as the black hatters. So white hatters already we know though some people sometimes they are doing some good job, sometimes they are doing some illegal job. Okay. So the combination of these two hatters we call it as gray hatters. Okay. So this is the difference between white hatter, black hatter, and gray hatter. White hatter na good person. Black hatter, motivational person. Intentionally, they are doing all those things. And gray hatters, the combination of white hatters and black hatters. Okay. So this is we call it as three type of hackers. Okay. Now let's see the fourth type of hackers. Okay. The script kiddies. So what is script kiddies? So usually these kind of people, they have written some, they will write their script or program, okay, to steal the information from the other websites or other networks. Okay, so these kind of people we will call it as script kiddies. Okay, so script kiddies, it is all about who use scripts or program developed by others to attack computer systems and networks to deface website. Okay. Someone is they have written already, they have written some code. Okay. So these kind of people, they make use of the code and finally destroy others' website or other computer systems. Okay. So these kind of people, we will call it as script kiddies. Okay. And next one, freak. Okay. So these kind of people, these kind of hackers, they are breaking the telecommunication systems to theft. Okay. So they are breaking the telecommunication and finally they theft some confidential information from the both sides. Okay. So these kind of hackers, we will call it as freak. What about this cyberpunk? Okay. The combination of hackers, cracker people, and freak people, we will call it as cyberpunk. Okay. All the hackers are involved with this cyberpunk. Okay. So these are all the different type of hackers are available in the real world. Okay. So white hatters is a good person. Okay. So they are doing some legal activities, illegal activities, coming under legal activities. Black hatters come completely illegal activities. Gray hatters, see, part of the things they are doing some legal activities. The remaining part of things doing some illegal activities. Scriptivities, they are stealing. They make use of someone code or program or script, and finally they steal some. They break some other system or network resources. Freak means they are mainly break the telecommunication network. Finally, cyberpunk. So all the people we will call it as cyberpunk. Okay. So this is all about the type of hackers. Now let's see the what are all the process are involved, what kind of information they are hacking. Okay. So that is very, very important. So the first one, so the people, these kind of hackers are, they are hacking the password protected web pages. Okay. So they are, say, suppose someone is hacking a government website, financial department websites. By default, what will happen? So it may be the government may lose huge amount of money per minute or per 10 minutes or 20 minutes. Okay. So that it is very, very dangerous. See, once the people are doing these kind of activities, it may lose, the government may lose. Okay. Suppose if it is, they are targeting government website, the government may lose huge amount of money. So it must be very, very careful. Okay. For example, 1 year before or 1.5 year before, some hackers, I think was, I think from that China, I think so. Okay, so they spreaded some ransom virus into AIMS data servers. Okay, so ransomware is one kind of virus which is very, very dangerous. Also, which is having the ability to spread in an enormous way. Okay, so that they spread that the ransom virus to that data servers, and after that that ransomware virus already spreaded to 10 servers. Okay, so people, they identify the virus, immediately isolated remaining few that data servers. Okay, so the thing is, if it is identified, okay, we may escape from different activities. Otherwise, it is very difficult to protect these kind of threats. Okay, so password also is very important. Once they know the password, they can easily access all your information, and finally they may spread some huge amount worst virus into websites. Okay, there may be possibilities are there that virus, it may be affected your data servers. Okay, so you need to be very, very careful, because that is the reason only hacking is very, very dangerous. Okay, and the second one, hacking into someone else's computers. Okay, someone is suppose see ourselves, okay, individuals we don't have any problem. Some high profile individuals are there. Okay, so if someone is stealing the high profile information, what will happen by default? Suppose some top level company CEOs are there. People are hacking the CEO confidential information. By default, what will happen? They may sell this information to some other companies. Okay, so that they may get some gain in the form of money. Okay, so it is very, very dangerous for this kind of hacking activities. And third one, hacking of company servers. Once they hacking the company servers, they know all the secret of the companies, and finally they sell to some third their competitive companies to they will give the competitive companies. Okay, so this is also another type of hacking process. And hacking the mobile devices. Okay, so they may see here the communication between different people, higher authority peoples. Okay, so that is also one kind of hacking process involved with this real world. Okay, so these are all the basic types of hackings that happen in the real world. Now let's see the hacking process. Okay, so these are all the steps are involved for hacking the content. Okay, so the first one, preparation. So what is preparation? Preparation, it is all about to identify the place. Okay, first identification. Identify the place. Once we identify the place, then we will start collecting information from the particular place. Okay, so start collecting information is coming under footprinting. Okay, so first identify the place, and second one, footprinting. So footprinting, it is all about for collecting or gathering all the information from the particular identified place. And third one, enumeration and printing. So once we collected all the information from the environment, so we have to determine the place, specific place. Okay, so that is the third steps, enumeration and fingerprinting. Okay. So once we identified the specific place, then we will start for identifying vulnerabilities. Okay. So specific place, after that, we need to identify the vulnerabilities. That is the fourth step of process. So once we identify the vulnerabilities, then the hackers are exploiting the vulnerabilities. Okay. Exploiting the vulnerabilities, that is the fifth one. So once the exploiting the vulnerability is completed, then we are getting all the information from the particular place. Okay, so that is, we call it as gaining access. And the second one, escalating privilege. So escalating privilege, it is all about, see, we total control we are having. Okay, so we are having the total control of that particular place. That is, we call it as escalating privilege. Okay, so whatever I need, I will get the information from the particular place. So once the escalating privilege is completed, then we must covering the tracks, which means the hackers are covering the tracks. Okay, because the admins again will come and see all the documents. That document, it must be like here original. Okay, so likewise they are covering the tracks. That is the 8 steps are involved for hacking process. And 9th one, creating backdoors. Okay, so whenever the people are escaping, they must create some backdoors, because next time they will come and again they will do some hacking process. Okay, so usually hackers they are targeting vulnerable place only. Again and again they are targeting vulnerable places only. Okay, so these are all the 9 basic steps are involved for this hacking process. Okay, so the first one, identify. Okay, so after identification of the hacking, then we will collecting all the information from the place. Once we collect all the information, we can identify the specific place. And then once we identify the specific place, then we will identify the specific place, then we will do identify the vulnerabilities. Once we identify the vulnerability, then we will do exploit the vulnerabilities. Okay, so after exploiting the vulnerability, we are the hackers are gaining the information from the place, and finally after gaining the information from the place, then the hackers are taking total control of the systems. Okay, so once they took the total control, they cover all the tracks and finally create some backdoors, then escape it. Okay, so these are all the basic hacking processes are involved for stealing someone's system or breaking someone's networks. Okay, this is all about hacking process. Now let's see ethical hacking. So what is ethical hacking? So hacking, already we know that some illegal way they are exploit the vulnerabilities and finally stealing the information. And what about the ethical hacking? So in legal way, we are hacking something, we are stealing something. Okay, so with the help of some permission, we are doing some legal activities. Okay, so this is, we call it as ethical hacking. Okay, for example, national security. Okay, like white hatters. White hatters they are good person, but with the help of some government official permission, they are doing some illegal activities. Okay, so this kind of hacking process, we will call it as ethical hacking. Okay, so this kind of ethical hacking, it is also one type of attack, and they are using some penetration testing. Okay, so what is penetration testing? So there are so many penetrating testers are there. Okay, usually the companies are they are hiring these kind of penetrate testers, and finally they make use of that. Okay, so what is the purpose of that penetration tester? So usually these kind of penetration testers, they are collecting, they are searching or scanning the entire company networks and resources, and finally identify some of the vulnerabilities and give the report to some higher authorities. Okay, so based on the report, they will do all the activities. They will do some analysis and finally find the solution to resolve this kind of problems. Okay, so that is the purpose of penetrate tester. Okay, so usually penetrate testers are giving collect making reports. They may not solve any problem in the company side or other organization side. Okay, so penetration testing also is very important. Okay, so this is all about ethical hacking. Why do people hack? Okay, for example, to make security stronger. Okay, sometimes they want to improve their security strength. Okay, so that is the one of the reason for doing hacking, and just for fun. Okay, just for fun, some people are doing some hacking process. And third one, show off their talent, show off their skills for others. Okay, so this is also one of the reason for doing hacking. Okay, and another one, hack other systems secretly and steal some important information. Okay, if someone is taking revenge, so they may steal some confidential information and giving to some third parties, or they may utilize the information and do some illegal activities. Okay, so these are all the reason for people doing hacking. Okay, so what are the various qualities are having the hackers are having? Okay, the first one, the hackers are it must be a good coder. They know nook and corner of every programming languages. Okay, and the second one, these kind of hackers are well knowledgeable persons in both hardware as well as the software. Okay, so good coder, good programming skill person, and well knowledgeable person on both software as well as hardware side. And also, these hackers have knowledge on security systems. They know nook and corner of every security systems, and also that person is a trusted person. Okay, so that is the these are the four qualities are having the hackers are having. Okay, good coder, well knowledgeable person in the software side and the hardware side, and that person having some good knowledge about the security systems, also the trusted person. Okay, so these are the various qualities are the hackers are having. Okay, now let's see the advantages and disadvantage of hackers. Okay, so what is the advantages? Advantages provide security to banking and financial establishment. If you are a white hackers, okay, so you are providing more security to banking and financial establishment. Okay, so you are doing, see, usually you are doing some illegal activities in a legal way. Okay, so that which helps the banking side to improve the security of their systems. Okay, so that is the first advantage. And what about the second advantage? Prevents website defacement. Okay, so we heard so many times we heard that some of the websites are hacked, and some of the business website, government website, private organization websites. Okay, so many websites are hacked, many times hacked. Okay, so in order to avoid, in order to prevent this kind of website defacement, we need hackers, white hackers. Okay, so people only knows what are the vulnerability areas are there and everything. Okay, so that is second advantage for the hackers, ethical hackers. Okay, so I'm talking about only the ethical hackers. Okay, and third one, an evolving technique. Okay, so these hackers, ethical hackers, knows all the latest languages, all the latest technologies about software as well as the hardware. Okay, then only they can break the systems or attack the resources and everything. Okay, and next one, to catch a thief, you have to think like a thief. Okay, because snake only knows snake leg. Okay, likewise, thief only knows thief. Okay, so that we can these kind of white hatters, they can easily track the black hatters. Okay, so these are all the advantages are there for ethical hacking process. Okay, and what are all the disadvantages are there? All depends upon the trustworthiness of ethical hacker. Okay, see, suppose some white hatters, see, we don't know what the people are thinking. Okay, so similarly, the white hatters also there may be a possibility for stealing some information or doing some illegal activities. Okay, So persons are acting now, what we'll do? We cannot do, we can't do anything because we don't know what the people are doing inside of the software and hardware. We are simply very watching, but we don't know what will happen. Okay, that is also one of the disadvantage, which means the trustworthiness is the biggest question mark for white hatters. Okay, that is the first disadvantages of ethical hacking. And second one, hiring professional is expensive. Only limited people are there. Only limited people are there all over the world. So whenever we want to buy this kind of white hatters, we have to spend huge amount of money. So if you are running some small companies, it is very, very difficult to hire these kind of white hatters. White hatters are limited people only. Only limited people are there all over the world. So we need to suppose you want to hire these kind of people, now we need to spend a huge amount of money for hiring this kind of people. Only government only will do. Individual organizations, it is very difficult. Okay, so these are all the major disadvantages are available for ethical hacking. Okay, now let's see how do we prevent this kind of hacking process. Okay, so this, for example, suppose how do we prevent our computers? Okay, so these are all the steps we have to follow. First one, we must make sure ourselves whether our security software is up to date or not. Suppose our security software is not up to date, we must update the software. Okay, so that is the first prevention mechanism for that security breaches. Okay, and second one, we need to install product and solutions that protect you while surfing and downloading. Okay, so we need to install product and solution that protect you while surfing and downloading. Okay, for example, suppose if you are downloading, suppose I want to download some application from our mobile. Okay, so if you are downloading the application from Google Play Store, almost it's a secured one. Okay, because that Google already verified there's a particular application, then only you upload it. Okay, but whereas if you are downloading third-party applications, now that may not be secure. Okay, likewise, we need to choose the proper path for downloading all the softwares and related products. Okay, then only we are preventing from this kind of attack. Okay, so that is the second thing. And third one, employ the latest technologies. Okay, so we need to adopt to some latest technologies, latest operating systems, because that latest operating systems only having some recent security patches. That patches will help to prevent many attacks. Okay, so that is the third security safety action. Okay, and what about the fourth one? So we need to use some latest web browser version. Okay, and also if possible, we need to install the security patches. Okay, by what, how to install, how do we install the security patches? We need to update the particular web browser. Okay, that is the another security safety action. Okay, if possible, we must enable automatic update. Either it may be your system, or it may be your browser, or it may be your softwares. Okay, so that is the another safety action. So always install, update, and maintain firewalls and intrusion detection software. Okay, so firewall, which is used to filter out some unwanted things from the network. Okay, so firewall also it must be up to date. Then only it will protect from so many attacks. Okay, so these are all the basic prevention actions for security. Okay, safety, security. Okay. Now, coming to email. So how do we protect my email from this kind of hacking process? Okay, so we always make sure ourselves whether any anti-spam product addresses are there or not. Okay, nowadays for all email providers, they are already inbuilt all the anti-spam products. Okay, so suppose some unwanted mails are coming, that automatically goes to spam folder. Okay, so by default nowadays we don't have any problem for doing this kind of things. Okay, that is the first prevention one. Second one, never open links for strange or looking emails. Okay, see, suppose some attractive emails are coming. Okay, some emails are is coming. Some attractive emails are coming. By default, what will happen? So we simply click the email and open some uh, images or PDF files, whatever it is. Whenever we are clicking that images or PDF files, automatically some of the softwares are installed in your system and continuously monitoring your activities and as well as stealing your information and send to the corresponding administrator, which means the hackers. Okay, so you must be very, very careful whenever you are clicking some unwanted emails or opening some unwanted files or images. Okay, once you click all those things, by default some unnecessary some applications are automatically installed without knowledge of the end users. That software always monitoring your system activities and finally sending that information to hackers. So this is also very, very dangerous. Then only uh, prevention is better than cure. Okay, awareness is very, very important. And third one, whenever we found some suspicious emails, we must complain to the corresponding authorities, appropriate authorities. Okay, for example, in India, uh, we may go to cybercrime.gov.in or you make a call to 1930. Okay, so these are all the basic helpline for illegal activities. Okay, which means digital illegal activities. And next, scan email attachment with a security solution before opening them. Okay. See, whenever we are opening, see here, whenever we are opening some Gmail file or like images or PDF files, initially they will do some scanning. Okay. See, suppose the system is identified that these kind of documents are having some vulnerability, now they will do some scanning. Then only it will allow to open the file. Okay. Suppose directly you can do without scanning, so there may be a possibility for spreading some of the dangerous virus. Okay, so that it must be very careful whenever we are opening some files from the email. Okay, so that is the another security safety actions. So be alert when receiving emails that request account details. See, someone is sending some emails. Okay, for asking like in place of some suppose the people it is act like a bank manager for asking your personal details. Okay, so if they are asking some personal details now, you must not give these kind of details. Okay, that kind of attack we call it as spoofing attack, email spoofing. Okay, the person who acted like a original person, like bank manager, so they will ask some bank details and finally steal. Once you give the information, they steal all the information from your side. Okay, so this attack we call it as email spoofing attack. Okay, so also you never email any financial information to anyone. Okay, once you will give your financial information to someone, they make use of their information and finally steal all your money. Okay, so you must be very careful about these kind of illegal activities, hacking process. Okay, hacking activities. So this is all about security safety actions. Okay, so initially you will see what is hacking and what are the histories are involved with the hacking process and the difference between hackers and crackers. And after that, actually we have seen the advantages of different type of hackers and the advantages of hackers, disadvantages of hacking. Okay, after that we discussed the process of hacking, and once that after completing the process of speaking, actually we have seen the safety security actions. Okay, so this is all about ethical hacking. Thank you.